Hi, my name is Hannah Borkert, and I recently conducted a qualitative study at Ma Fisher's, and I observed a group of older adults socializing with their peers and eating lunch. So I made this little diagram right here. Um, Here's me, and then at this table, there are two older adult women who are in their early 70s and an older adult male in his late 70s. And then at this table, there are two older adult men in their early 60s. And then the waiter and the waitress are of a younger generation, so there was some cross generational interactions as well. As a non participant qualitative observer, I learned that sitting too close was a challenge because I didn't want them to know that I was watching them. And my observation grid involved a lot of me observing instead of listening. So it was definitely a challenge um, for me to observe their body language without looking like I was staring at them. I was most interested in watching the two older adult women communicate because it was really apparent that they had a long history and strong friendship. They knew each other's family and friends. They giggled the entire time. And I was really surprised to see how animated their faces were, how engaged in the conversation they were, and how genuinely like happy of people that they were. Um, I also really enjoyed taking myself out of the scene and watching how it naturally played out. I was surprised to learn how the communication with older adults is not that different than it is with younger adults. The two older men at the table were discussing a community event, and they had brought tons of folders and grids, and they were throwing ideas around, and it didn't really look that different than I would see on a college campus on any given day. And I also noticed that the communication accommodation theory was in use when the two older women were gossiping, and I enjoyed how one would say something funny and the next would add on, and they would laugh even harder, and they both seemed to encourage and reciprocate each other's silly behavior. Through this experiment, I conclude that while there was some differences in language, there was a lot of commonalities in how older and younger adults communicate than I expected. In reference to different generations communicating, I found through my observations that Charles Knight was correct when he stated the same things are going on, but we speak about it in a different way. We have to find that commonality. Older and younger generations have a lot in common, and we often focus on the divide rather than the commonalities. And I think this is really present in my experiment, and I found this really to be true.